Hi, this is December 23rd, Monday, at just after 8 in the UK, and I'm recording a short recap for the trades that we have. None of them will cause you any stress over the festive season. They won't probably produce much, but these are facts of life. So, in essence, do we want to add an additional layer to get the probably maybe the 120 $100 negative UAEL upper expression line on this trade? This is more or less what we lose today, 120, 140. There's not much time left. Of course, 25 DTE. We can maybe try and keep the trade up to 14 DTE, but there's very little premium left in this market. So maybe it's an incentive to do a little bit on this trade. We can definitely try and go for an OTM structure here just to get a little bit of credit, maybe reduce the downside combo centered on 29.25. So, I mean, of course, we can reverse Harvey. Reverse Harvey, you would get 965 to 815, 1.5. So you can go a little bit delta positive depending on your bias or conviction. If you want to be more neutral, you would then pay the 25 cents here too. So basically a short put condor here. But as I said, the other possibility is to reduce the trade over there. So if we go for this kind of combo, we probably get nothing out of it. Maybe a small credit, really next to nothing. But we reduce the trade in the view of closing it. Mostly we reduce the risk by reducing the exposure from 12 to 7, so almost like $5,000 off the table. So that's one way of looking at it, simplifying the trade and do just a couple of adjustments, maybe to add some premium here in this area, keeping the delta flat to slightly negative and getting the EUL to be next to zero. Of course, with this little theta, there's not much we can do to make sure that the trade will recover quickly. For the trade to recover, we definitely need a pullback, but the pullback should be about 100 points. So at this point in time, one may say that I have not been really looking at getting UEL upper expression line back to zero. And the reason is that we've done a lot of risk mitigation. The UEL is now next to zero. There's no, like in the RTT, true motivation to go delta positive, put the upper expression line into profit and just wait. This Rhino trade is not meant to be that bullish, and I would consider the current risk profile as safe enough. Now, if we are in a rush to close the trade, or maybe by December 31st, which would be 14 to 18 DTE or maybe 21 DTE by end of this week, yes, I would understand that you would probably need to be a little bit more aggressive, but I don't think it is necessary. I think we have in this Rhino configuration done enough to keep the trade as it is, and maybe we'll take a little loss, 100 points or so. And we may even get into profit if we have a pullback coming soon. This market is really crazy. SPX has gone nearly 200 points since early December. I think we've done quite well, and there's no rush to do much more. Now, if you want, we can of course get some premium here in the 3000 area, going just for a straight PCS here, but this is not really necessary. My inclination is just to wait a bit longer on this trade. Now let's move on to the B2B. The B2B trade is in a similar situation. It also loses potentially, let's go at expiration. It can lose 145. So it's actually a very similar profile with just a slightly more bullish stance, because it does have a flat to slightly positive. It's got a little bit more theta, but also a little bit more negative vega. So this one would possibly not recover as quickly in case of pullback. And considering that we have fewer adjustments at our disposal here, I would reckon that for the standard, I would go for like $1 here and maybe 75 cents. So this is the typical type of adjustment that you would do, keeping the risk under control. Of course, if you have a very bullish bias, you can go for a straight PCS here. The capital usage is still reasonable. So you could get a little bit of a credit here and maybe just go for something like this. So you would get, I would I would assume then by the, but there again, even if the upper expression line is at about $80, it is not in the Rhino strategy a strong motivation just to get the UEL above zero. I don't think here either there's actually a strong incentive to do more. The trade will not lose much even if we do nothing to it. So I would say that it's more a personal discretion to carry on with more RTT style adjustments. So basically adding a PCS with or without capital control. Now let's go to the February trade. Thankfully, the February trades started on a very positive note. So now, of course, now we had up to $250 profit. I would say the end of the sweet spot is about 32.45. The current area is, and of course in low IV, I monitor this ratio, Delta Vega. Delta Vega is about 10%. So I assume this trade will remain stable if the market congests in this area. On the positive side, that this one has been placed higher than the January trade, and it will recover quickly if the market would drop just by 50 or 60 points. So on this one, I would be inclined to do nothing. The upper expression line is limited, about $500 with still about 60 days to go. So on this one, I would be more affirmative and say that there's really no need to go RTT style yet. I would certainly consider it more, at least for the B2B version, which is similar. The B2B version started similarly. The only thing is that on this one, I cannot add an extra layer. So on this one, we can maybe add a PCS that is acceptable in this trade. So maybe a PCS just probably around 30.50, 30.75. We're only using $13,000 here, so we can definitely add a PCS. This is not exactly RTT style, but in the original Rhino, adding a PCS was accepted, even though, of course, we kind of give up by flattening delta. We kind of give up a future use of a calendar hedge on the upside, because of course, if we don't let the delta build up, that will never happen. But this is something that we can do. I mean, the delta would still be slightly negative. So this is kind of a minor tuning that is acceptable in the standard Rhino. Exactly like the regular trade, there's no really any motivation to go RTT all the way into RTT style yet, basically putting a PCS on the upper long and control capital usage with a similar PDS on the downside. So really this week, and generally when we approach the festive season, I try and keep my trades, if not risk-free, with a little possible risk, and we try and not to do too much to our trades. So again, I have tried to explain the way of thinking in a conservative Rhino management. This year, the market is a little bit crazy, and also because of a possible reaction in January. And this trade, February, still has about 4 to 6 weeks to go. So we have to be careful not to go too much into RTT style, just in case there's a strong reaction early next year. So I would be probably more conservative by doing nothing to this trade. That being said, if you are still very bullish, you can definitely go and add that PCS I mentioned just now. Okay, I won't be much available today. Sorry about that. I have some traveling planned. So we'll probably check the market around 11 a.m. Eastern, and then I'll see you tomorrow on Slack. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.